I think it is time. Let us begin. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादा सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna everyone. Welcome back to Wisdom of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are going to start on chapter 2 today, which is entitled The Divinity and Divine Service. So this is a very important chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam. Till now, we have seen that the sages have asked various questions to Suta Goswami. So we saw in the last session that the sages were doing this yajna for 1,000 years for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord and his devotees. And mainly this yajna they were doing for the welfare of people in Kali Yuga, even though it was very personally inconvenient for them. So in the beginning, what they did, so one fine day, they invited Suta Goswami and glorified his quality. They offered him the esteemed seat, Vyasasan, was offered to Suta Goswami. And then they spoke various verses glorifying his qualities. They said that you are anagha, you are free from all vices. You have explained as well as read. So we discussed it quite in detail that why only just reading is not mentioned, but the explaining is also mentioned by the Shaunakadi rishis for Suta Goswami and many other things. But one of the most important quality that we saw for Suta Goswami was that he was submissive to his spiritual masters. And because he was so submissive to his spiritual masters, they became pleased with him and they gave him special favor. And because of that special favor, special blessings, Suta Goswami was so esteemed because he has learned so much from them. So it is not only important to be in a close association of the spiritual master. The important thing is that we have to actually somehow or other please our spiritual master. And here we discussed that it was spiritual masters which was mentioned. So not only the Diksha Guru, but also various Shiksha Gurus that we have to make sure that we please them. And then the sages explained that after explaining the wonderful qualities of Suta Goswami, sages also explained the qualities or the disqualifications of people in Kali Yuga. They mentioned that these people in Kali Yuga are prayan alpayusha sabhya kalavasmin yuge jana manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya hyupadritaha. So they have less lifespan, they are lazy, they are misguided, they are unlucky, and they are also always disturbed. Because of this, even though you know so many things from the scriptures, there is no point in explaining everything that is there and then leaving it to the Kali Yuga people to decide what is the essence. So they asked very specific questions, very wonderful questions to Suta Goswami. And we summarize them that the 6 questions that the sages asked, they were: first one, what is the absolute and ultimate good for people in general? They don't want prayers, they want shreyas. And they want it ultimate good. So shreyas also is a long-term good. But there could be many things which are good for the long term. But they are saying that don't give me everything. Just give me one important thing, which is ultimate good for everyone. And that is for people in general, they are asking. The second question they ask, what is the essence of all scriptures? Third one, why Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appeared? What was the purpose of his appearance? And what acts did he perform in his Purushavatas as well as Leelavataras? That was the fourth and fifth questions. And the sixth question, the last question that they asked was, where have the religious principles taken shelter after Lord Shri Krishna has left this universe? When he has left this planet, where did the religious principle have taken shelter? So this is where we finished our chapter 1 and we are going to enter into chapter 2. So chapter 2 has 34 verses. And in this 34 verses, Suta Goswami is going to answer the first 4 questions asked by Shaunakadi rishis. And the other 2 questions, the fifth and sixth question, he is going to answer in chapter 3. I don't think that we'll be able to cover all 34 verses today, even though I bravely said that we will try to cover the second chapter in one session. But when I was looking through it, I was thinking, oh, there is so much wonderful nectar in this second chapter. There is no point in rushing through it. So I'm going to endeavor to cover at least the 21 verses. And hopefully, if that is done, then in the next session, we will try to cover the remaining chapter 2 and maybe some more verses of chapter 3 if time permits. So that's the plan. So in chapter 2, Suta Goswami first offers his Mangalachar. He offers obeisances to his Guru and the Guru Parampara. Then he glorifies the questions which are asked by sages. And then he answers question 1 and 2. And then in the next verses, few verses 8 to 15, he explains that the Varnashram Dharma, what is the purpose of doing the Varnashram Dharma? Why we should do this Varnashram Dharma? What is the ultimate goal we should have for it? And the answer is actually bhakti. Bhakti is the main thing that we should receive from it. And then he explains various stages of bhakti. There's so many anarthas which are there in our heart. So how can we actually get over those anarthas, which starts from hearing Krishna Katha? And even if you do not have taste for hearing, then what can we do? That is also mentioned in these verses. And then he explains about only Krishna is to be served. Instead of worshipping the Devatas, we should just focus on Lord Shri Krishna. And then he explains about the Purushavatas while answering question 4. And then he also explains what is the purpose of Lord Shri Krishna's appearance, which is to reclaim the pure souls. The people who are in mode of goodness, he wants to reclaim them and take them back to his abode. So that is the overview. So let us jump on to verse number 1. We are entering into chapter 2, verse number 1. Vyasa uvacha iti samprashna samhrushto vipranam rau maharshinihi Pratipujyavachastesham pravaktum upachakrame. Who wants to read the translation? Yes, Lavanga Mataji and then Shivani Mataji. You can
Hare
next.
Krishna Prabhu,
Hare
Shridharashana.
Krishna.
Ugrasrava, Suta Goswami, the son of Romaharshana, being fully satisfied by the perfect questions of the Brahmanas, thanked them and thus attempted to reply.
Thank you, Mataji. So this verse is spoken by Vyasadeva. Now, where did Vyasadeva come from in between? But because Vyasadeva has written this Srimad Bhagavatam, the conversation is going on between Suta Goswami and Shaunakadi rishis. But Vyasadeva is also present. Vyasadeva is also actually hearing, and then he is actually narrating everything. Because if the conversation between Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami, that was the only thing that was to be explained, then we would have started directly from Canto 2. That is where the entire history of Srimad Bhagavatam and everything, Canto 1, has already finished like that. And then we would have started there. But then here we are getting to hear more nectar. So that is why he has started from here, where Shaunakadi rishis are there. They are assembled in Naimisharanya, and Suta Goswami is explaining to them. So not only Shukadev Goswami's words that we understand, but also Suta Goswami's realized words we are also able to hear. And that is where this is going on. So Vyasadeva is actually writing this complete Srimad Bhagavatam starting from here. Suta Goswami explaining. So in the first verse itself, when Vyasadeva is speaking, he is saying, he has given the name of Suta Goswami. Now there are two Suta Goswamis come into Srimad Bhagavatam. Roma Harshana Suta and this Ugrashrava Suta. So this Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken by Suta Goswami, which is Ugrashrava Suta, who is the son of Roma Harshana Suta. And Roma Harshana Suta is the one who gets killed by Balaramji. And that story as well will come little later on in Srimad Bhagavatam. So after Romaharshana Sutta was killed, then his son uh, was given all the blessings by the sages as well as Lord Balaram, and then he was empowered to actually speak this Srimad Bhagavatam. So this Ugrashrava. So generally everywhere he is referred as Suta Goswami. Romaharshana Sutta is also referred as Suta Goswami. So Suta is like their title. So all the disciples in that parampara will also be referred to Suta. But here the specific name of the Suta Goswami for the first time is mentioned, that he is Ugrashrava. So Srila Suta Goswami is perfectly satisfied by the questions. This is what it is mentioned. It is iti samprashna samrishto. So not some prashna, like it is not mentioned that it is just prashna. It's saying some prashna. Some prashna means perfect questions, very good questions. So the Shaunakadi rishis asked very good questions, and that is why Suta Goswami became Samrishto. So Samrishto means he's perfectly satisfied. So he's not only satisfied, but he's perfectly satisfied. So perfect questions satisfies the speaker perfectly. And generally the answers are praised. Someone asks the questions and then the speaker actually answers those questions. And then somebody says, oh, Prabhuji, answer was very, very nice. We like the answer. But here, the speaker hasn't even spoken the answer. But Vyasadeva is saying that Suta Goswami, of course, Vyasadeva also liked those questions. That is why he has specifically mentioned this here. So Vyasadeva also liked the questions, and Suta Goswami also liked the questions, and Suta Goswami praising the questions. We will see, and there is a verse that will come where he will start praising the questions themselves. That shows the depth of the questions that these sages have asked. Good questions, they also allow the speaker to give the best knowledge. One reason is because the question is asked by the audience. And by answering those questions, the speaker knows that this knowledge is relevant for the devotees who are sitting in front of him. because they may actually have a lot of knowledge and they may actually start explaining this and that and all the knowledge from all the scriptures, but they do not know whether that is relevant for the devotees or the audience who is sitting in front of them. But when somebody asks a question, then they know, oh, this question is relevant, this is their need, and they can actually focus on that need and they can answer that. So they like this, any questions which are asked, the speaker becomes enlivened because they know that, oh, they can now speak specifically what is required, what is relevant for their audience, what is required for the people sitting in front of them. So Suta Goswami is going to thank. So it is said, he was satisfied by the questions of the Brahmanas, thanked them, and thus attempted to reply. So why he had to thank? What is the reason why Suta Goswami had to thank the Shaunakadi rishis? Yes, Surananda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So he is getting opportunity to remember the Lord and spoke about
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very good. So the speaker gets the opportunity to glorify the Lord, to remember the Lord, meditate the Lord. So many things that we do, like as devotional service, but at that time our mind is not very focused. So when we chant, we all know our mind just wanders here and there, isn't it? Many other services that we do, like even doing deity worship, our mind may just go here and there, or any other services that we do. For example, we were celebrating Rath Yatra yesterday. So there as well, even though so many things were happening, there are so many distractions. We may get just distracted, or we may just start thinking, what is the next event? What is the next event? So our mind may just actually go here and there. But when we are speaking about Krishna, the mind is very focused. So this gives the speaker an opportunity to be very, very focused. So that is why Suta Goswami is thanking these Shaunakadi rishis for giving him the opportunity to speak about Krishna, to do some service to Krishna, to meditate on Krishna. So this is how everyone who's speaking about Krishna should have this mood, that they should think that they have received this opportunity to glorify the Supreme Lord, and they should be thankful. Now, in the second and third verse that we are going to read now, Suta Goswami offers the obeisances to his guru Sukadeva Goswami, and he glorifies various qualities of Sukadeva Goswami. So let us see what qualities he is glorifying in the second and third verse. Yam pravajantam anupetam petakrutyam dvaipayano virahakatar ajuhava putreti tanmaya tayataravo bhinedus tam sarvabhuta hridayam munimanatosmi. Yeah, Shivani Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna,
Prabhu, you
Prabhuji.
can do the next one. Yeah.
Okay. Srila Suta Goswami said, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto that great sage, Sukadeva Goswami, who can enter the hearts of all. When he went away to take up the renounced order of life, sannyas, leaving home without undergoing reformation by the sacred thread or the ceremonies observed by the higher caste, his father, Vyasdev, fearing separation from him, cried out, 'O my son, indeed, only the trees which were absorbed in the same feelings of separation echoed in response to the bereaved father.'" Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah. And this is, thank you, Mataji. So this is if you actually read this again, you will feel that this is like a bit of a weird introduction of Shukadeva Goswami. Generally, when we actually glorify or a visiting preacher is there and we are introducing them, we glorify in a way that, oh, this Maharaj or this Prabhuji has uh, experience of 50 years, or they have practiced this bhakti process for 20 years, 30 years, and materially as well, they are very educated. They went to this wonderful college and they got this degree, some PhD or some master's degree in some particular area, and they worked here, worked there, that kind of introduction that we do. But if you see, Suta Goswami is introducing Shukadeva Goswami, saying that he has not done he reformed by the sacred thread. So he hasn't been reformed by the sacred thread. So he hasn't got the initiation, second initiation, where he is given sacred thread. Not only that, he has not undergone any ceremonies. Not only that, he has not performed any prescribed duties. And if that was not enough, uh, he immediately left his home, and when his father was following him and calling, "Oh son," he did not even pay attention and he kept walking. So even if, say, suppose someone who you do not know, if they call on the street, then we immediately, actually, we don't want to be rude, so we pay attention to them. But here, forget about someone unknown. Here, his own father is calling him, and he's running behind him, and he's viraha katar. He is struck with this separation. And in that mood of separation, he's saying, "Oh son, oh son." And the son keeps walking. So isn't this a introduction which seems like a little bit negative? But here, Sutta Goswami is trying to explain that Shukadeva Goswami is such a great personality that he is liberated. He is Brahman realized he is actually a pure devotee, but because of the pastime in the beginning, he was shown as if he had just Brahman realized. So he is such a liberated personality that he did not require any reformation ceremony, any sacred thread, or he doesn't have to undergo any ceremonies. He doesn't have to do any prescribed duties. He is born liberated. So none of these things are required for him. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that when, like ordinary person, when they are born, that is their first birth. And then they go through this sacred thread ceremony, which is the initiation. And that is considered their second birth. And that is why they are called Dvija. Dvija means the person who is born twice, or they are called Dvija means twice born. Twice born means one is the physical birth that they have taken, and the second one is their the spiritual birth, where the spiritual master has given them initiation. So that is why they are called Dvija. Dvija means they are now ready to study the Vedas. And after they have gone through the study of Vedas, then they are called. So everyone is born like ordinary being. Then they are called Dvija when they are twice born. And when they have studied the Vedas, then they are called Vipra. So ordinary being to Dvija, and then Dvija to Vipra when they have learned they have received all the spiritual knowledge. But then Srila Prabhupada explains that Vipra is not the final stage. Vipra is the stage when they have actually understood the Brahman. But after that, they can become Vaishnava. When they make further spiritual progress, then they can become Vaishnava. And a person who has become Vaishnava is already Vipra, Dvija, and everything that is there. Like he is already a Brahmana, he is already a Vipra, Dvija, everything is there included. And he explains with the example of Haridas Thakur. Srila Prabhupada mentions that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recognized Haridas Thakur even though he was born as a Muslim. But he recognized, because he was a Vaishnava, he recognized him as the Acharya of the holy name. He is a Namacharya. So Haridas Thakur did not go through this Dvija, he did not get the sacred thread, he did not actually learn the Vedas or whatever like that. But still, because he was a Vaishnava, all the good qualities which are expected from Brahmana, Vipra, Dvija, whatever, everything is included in Vaishnava. And this is what is mentioned here. Because he was born as a Vaishnava, Sukadeva Goswami was born as a Vaishnava, so this sacred, this ceremony, sacred thread ceremony, or this prescribed duties, or nothing like that is required for him. It was all included. Then when Vyasadeva was calling, we talked about when Vyasadeva was calling, at that time, he just kept walking. Sukadeva Goswami kept walking. So that is showing his renunciation. Even though it sounds negative in the beginning, but that shows how Sukadeva Goswami was renounced from the beginning. And very interesting thing which is mentioned here, that indeed only the trees which were absorbed in the same feelings of separation echoed in response to the bereaved father. And in the verse it is said, Tam sarva bhuta hridayam munimana tosmi. He is offering this, his obeisances to this Muni, Sukadeva Goswami, who can enter everyone's heart. Only Paramatma enters everyone's heart. So here it is mentioned that Sukadeva Goswami can also enter everyone's heart. And here Jiva Goswami also explains that Sukadeva Goswami entered the hearts of the trees. And the echoing that was happening from the trees, it was a response from the trees inspired by Sukadeva Goswami who has entered into the hearts of the trees. So it is not that he hasn't responded. He has responded, but he has responded through the trees. And what response? Because it was just an echo. So Vyasadeva was saying, "Oh sun." So the trees are also echoing, "Oh sun." But he is not feeling alone because he is receiving some response from someone. So in Bhagavad Subodhini, if you see, after this verse, it is mentioned that a speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam should also have this mood that just like Sukadeva Goswami has entered the heart of the trees and speaking his whatever response that he wanted to give, the speaker should also pray that Sukadeva Goswami enters their heart while they are speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. So that instead of they speaking, Sukadeva Goswami speaks through their mouth. So that is how we should have our mood when we are speaking about Srimad Bhagavatam. Let us look at the next verse, which is another glorification. Very wonderful verse. I love this verse. Yasvanubhavamakhilashrutisaaramekam adhyatmadipam atititirshatam tamondham samsarinam karunayah purana guhyam tamavyasa upayami gurum muninam. Who wants to recite? Mataji, you want to do? Sudharma Mataji, that's why you have raised your hand, or you
Yes,
have a question or a
Prabhuji.
comment?
Yes, Prabhuji. Just reading.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Let me offer. Sorry,
Oh,
Prabhuji.
I'm requesting to
Recite this
recite the
one.
verse, Mataji.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought it was for
Go ahead.
translation. Okay.
go ahead.
I will give it a go. I'm not sure, Prabhuji, but Yesvanuभावम् अखिल श्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीपम् अतितिर्सतां तमोन्दम् संसारिणां करुणया यः पुराणगुह्यम् तं व्यासशूनम् उपयामि गुरुं मुनीनाम्.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Krishna.
Okay, I think it was Mantramulam Prabhu who was supposed to read, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him, Sukadeva Goswami, the spiritual master of all sages, the son of Vyasadeva, who out of his great compassion for those gross materialists who struggle to cross over the darkest regions of material existence, spoke this most confidential supplement to the cream of Vedic knowledge after having personally assimilated it by experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. There are a few hands up. Are they for questions or comments, or you want to read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have a question.
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
So, Prabhuji, when the trees echoed back, "O Putra, Putra," is it because under those trees, Srila Vyasadeva performed the tapasya, so they are also in that kind of like Vatsalya for Sukadeva Goswami, or how does it?
No, not like that. It is in normal sense. You can see that in a forest, you are calling out, and it is just an echo that is coming out from the forest. But poetically, it is mentioned that Shukadeva Goswami entered the heart of those trees, and Vyasadeva, he was calling out, but because Shukadeva Goswami was not responding to him, he made sure that at least trees respond to him. It is not like they have any Vatsalya bhava or anything. At least it is not mentioned. If they have, it is not mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam that they had some Vatsalya bhava towards Shukadeva Goswami. So yeah, it is just an echo that has come out because Shukadeva Goswami has entered into their hearts.
So basically, the hearers should pray that Sukadeva Goswami should enter our heart, or speaker should pray, or both should pray.
Speaker should pray. Speaker should pray that the speaker is actually compared here to the trees. So just like Shukadeva Goswami has entered in the heart, similarly, the speaker should actually pray that the Shukadeva Goswami should enter their heart. Basically, their spiritual master, the Guru Parampara, they should enter their heart, and the knowledge should be actually given as it is. So that is what the speaker should pray.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Got it. Thank you.
Right?
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. That's
Okay.
clear now. Yes. Thank you.
Yes, Rajiv Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Apologies for being late today. Prabhuji, the question I have is a two-part question. One, much like, and I'm comparing this to the, let's say, career pathway, right? So from various different stages that we read in the last, text, if one aspires to go through these various stages, right? Sorry, let me formulate it properly. First question is, what validates or qualifies that someone is a Vaishnava? We know he is self-realized being, but who qualifies or validates that? That's the first part. Second part is, if someone were to go through these steps, what should the motivation or how should the motivation be to ensure that they are going through it in the correct way? Someone could just want to do it because they want that position or title.
Yeah.
So what should be the motivation behind it?
Yeah, we are going to talk about motivation very soon. So I will park your second question, which is about what should be the motivation, as well as are we progressing in the right direction? So that question is going to be answered today, later on. But who's a Vaishnava? Vaishnava is the one who is worshipping the Supreme Lord, somehow or the other. So if you are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you are a Vaishnava. If you have made up your mind that I want to actually worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, and then you are taking steps towards the Supreme Lord, then you are a Vaishnava. And no one can know from your external activities whether you are a Vaishnava or not, because we can be a fake Vaishnava. So, what is there in our heart, what is our consciousness when we are doing those activities determines whether we are a Vaishnava or not. If we have decided that I am the servant of the Supreme Lord, then we are a Vaishnava. And then we are taking some steps to serve the Supreme Lord. Even the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is serving the Supreme Lord. We are remembering him. So that is one of the steps or one of the ways to serve him. So at a very briefly, we can say that anyone who is chanting, anyone who has made up their mind to worship the Supreme Lord and become his servant is called a Vaishnava. Is that okay?
Question was more, who validates it? Is it self-validation then? Or how does one qualify to be a Vaishnava? Like, there has to be some sort of validation or, criteria to pass through. If that is the criteria, then who is that person who is validating that criteria, testing it out and saying, yes, you are now a Vaishnava?
So there is no criteria for that, like that you have to be actually validated by someone. But automatically, when you are in association of the devotees will accept you as a Vaishnava. So in a way, we can say that the other devotees around us will validate that we are a Vaishnava because we are part of that Sangha, that association. One kind of validation can happen when a spiritual master accepts you as a disciple at the time of initiation. So that is a formal entry into the and getting connected to the parampara. But even before that as well, you can be a Vaishnava. So that is why I'm not saying, generally, I did not answer you saying that, okay, when you get initiated from the spiritual master, at that time you become a Vaishnava. No, before that as well, you can be a Vaishnava. But that can be a formal ceremony where it can be said that, okay, now you have gone through this process and then you are a Vaishnava now, because you are actually taking a vow at that point that you will keep chanting the 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. You will follow the four relative principles. So you are actually you are taking this process seriously and sincerely. So you become like more fixed up. So, but before that as well, if you're doing it seriously, sincerely, you're chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you are taking Krishna as a Supreme Personality of Godhead and considering yourself as a servant, taking some steps to serve the Supreme Lord, you're a Vaishnava. And if you want a validation, I can validate you.
No. I'm not. My question more was, even if there's a guru validating someone, what criteria does the guru have, which he or she thinks that, oh, this person's fulfilling this, and so now this person is, has reached that state.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm thinking too logically. I don't know.
Yeah, this is actually the guru is accepting not because we are qualified. Guru is accepting because they are merciful. So because if they actually put some qualification for us that you have to be like this, we will never be able to take initiation. And they are very merciful and they accept us as their disciples or students out of their causeless mercy. That is the only thing. So we are generally not qualified. And because we actually show some eagerness to progress towards Krishna, Guru says that, okay, I'll accept you. This eagerness, this laulyam, this desire for moving towards Krishna is enough for me to take you back to Godhead. I will guide you from here onwards. So as long as we have this sincere desire in our heart that I want to progress spiritually, I want to move towards Krishna instead of moving towards Maya, then Guru will accept us and take us forward towards Krishna.
Prabhuji, just one more question just popped in my head. Thank you for the first one, and second one you said we'll address it. Are there female gurus?
Yes, actually, gurus can be male or female, anyone. It doesn't have to be because finally a spirit soul is not male or female. So it doesn't mean that we like the guru has to be only male.
Okay.
And in our parampara, there are examples of female gurus. Janava Mata, who's Nityananda Prabhu's wife, she was, after Nityananda Prabhu finished his pastime, she was actually leading all the Vaishnavas. And she was one of the prominent gurus. And she was not that she was just a placeholder for some time because no one else was there. No, she was very, very advanced devotee. And she was actually guiding all the Vaishnavas. So female gurus and male gurus, because we don't uh, see Guru as this body. We are going beyond this conception of body, that I'm not this body, but I'm a spirit soul. So similarly, this spiritual master is also not the body. He or she is a spirit soul. And there are not a lot of examples of female gurus, but the female gurus are possible. And at least there are a lot of Shiksha gurus who are Matajis. And they are very advanced, and I refer to their teachings in many situations. So they are wonderful teachers as well. Okay, let us move on. I want to at least continue and complete the 21 verses. So So this verse, Yas Svanubhava Akhilas Shruti Saramekam. So in this verse, Suta Goswami is glorifying Sukadeva Goswami further. He's saying, Guru Munina, that you are the spiritual master of all sages. And you are a Vyasa Sunum. You are the son of Vyasadeva. So this is like part of introduction. So he's not an ordinary soul. He's the son of Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva is Shakti-Avesh avatar. He's having this potency endowed to him of this Supreme Lord. And his son is Sukadeva Goswami. So he's not an ordinary heritage. His parents are quite extraordinary. But another quality which is mentioned, Atititirshatam tamondham and samsarinam karuna yaha. So he has great compassion for materialists who are going through this titirsha. They are actually going through this very difficult situation in this material world. So out of his great compassion that he has for these people who are suffering, that is why he has given this Purana Guhyam. Srila Prabhupada in this purport, he gives, and the previous purport and this purport, he gives like this quest of happiness in journey of self-discovery. We start the first session to any new people that we are talking about, that what is a human being generally looking for? We are always looking for some happiness. So this is what Srila Prabhupada talks about, that materialist people are always looking for some happiness in this world, material world, which is actually dukhalayam ashashvatam. It is full of miseries. And he gives the example of a camel. So camel sometimes in the desert, he is trying to eat some thorny bushes. And when he eats the thorns actually cuts his tongue and blood starts coming. And he is actually eating the thorns, which is mixed with this blood. And he likes the taste of the blood. And he's thinking that the thorns are very nice. And he doesn't understand actually the thorns that he's trying to eat is actually creating these wounds in his mouth, and that blood he is liking. And Srila Prabhupada says that our happiness in this material world is like this camel. We are suffering, but we think that we are enjoying. And this is the power of Maya. Maya makes us think that we are enjoying when we are really suffering. There is one interesting line here. It was here or in the previous one? Anyway, I think it is coming in the future purports about the happiness. We will see. So, so this is the situation of the materialist, that we are suffering, but we do not even understand that we are suffering. So, looking at all of us, Sukadeva Goswami became very, very merciful on us, and that is why what he gave Akhila Shruti Saramekam, which is Purana Guhyam. Gave the most confidential cream of Vedic knowledge. And Srila Prabhupada explains that the Vedanta Sutra is the summary of all the Vedic knowledge. But because they are in the sutra form, they are like some small formulas, like little sutras. For example, Janmadhyasyata. That's it. The verse just says Janmadhyasyata or Athato Brahma Jigyasa. That's it. So the Vedanta Sutras are like these small snippets from Vedic knowledge, but that covers everything. But because they are so condensed, people can actually derive a lot of different meanings out of them, and they can be misinterpreted. Hence, this commentary on Vedanta Sutra, which is Srimad Bhagavatam, is written. And this is written by Vyasadeva himself. So no one can, and that is why this Commentary starts with Janmadhyasya yathonvayaditaratas. So Janmadhyasya yatah. One of the Vedanta Sutra is mentioned there, and it starts like this. So that is why it is also spoken by Sukadeva Goswami that it is a commentary on Vedanta Sutra, and to remove this misrepresentation, misinterpretations of Vedanta Sutras, that is why he has given this cream of all the Vedic knowledge in an easy to understandable way for all of us in as a commentary, which is Srimad Bhagavatam. And one of the last points which are here is Swanubhavam. That is also another quality. So after personally assimilating all this knowledge by his experience, so not only that he has theoretically understood, but he has experienced that knowledge, and he's sharing that experienced knowledge with all of us. To such Sukadeva Goswami, I am offering my obeisances. That is what Suta Goswami is saying. So let us offer our respectful obeisances to Sukadeva Goswami as well as to Suta Goswami as well. Now, after glorifying Sukadeva Goswami, he goes further and glorifies few more personalities. Let us see. Verse number 4. Narayanam namaskrutyam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. Yes, Uma Mataji, Vidushi Mataji, you want to read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. The shlokam or the translation, Prabhuji?
Translation.
Translation. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances onto the personality of Godhead Narayana, onto Naranarayan Rishi, the supermost human being, onto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and onto Srila Vyasadeva, the author.
Thank you, Mataji. So 4 personalities are offered obeisances here. First, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayanam. So offering obeisances to Narayana. Then Naram Chaiva Narottamam, which is Naranarayana Rishi. They are the supermost human beings. Of course, they are also Shakti Avesh Avatar, Naranarayan Rishi. And why specifically Naranarayan Rishi is offered obeisances here? That secret is revealed in the 12th canto. In the 12th canto, 4th chapter, 41st verse. It is mentioned there that Naranarayan Rishi explained Srimad Bhagavatam to Narad Muni. Narad Muni then gave it to Vyasadeva, and Vyasadeva gave to Sukadeva Goswami. And then Suta Goswami heard, and then he gave to Shaunakadi Rishi. So Vyasadeva received it from Narad Muni. Narad Muni received it from Naranarayan Rishi. So that is why they are being offered obeisances. And Saraswati Devi, who is the goddess of learning, and Vyasadeva, of course, who is the compiler of Vedas as well as who's the writer of Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is why these 4 personalities are glorified and paid obeisances by Suta Goswami. And it is mentioned Tato Jayam Mudirayat, Jayam, which is conquering. Jay means victory. So what kind of victory we are looking for? It is said before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest. So Srimad Bhagavatam is a means of conquest. So by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, studying Srimad Bhagavatam, we are going to be victorious. So what are we going to be victorious against? So we are going to conquer the cycle of birth and death. We are going to actually go from this place of miseries, which is Kuntha. From here, we are going to go to Vaikuntha, which is the place which is free from all the miseries. So that is what the Jaya Mudirayat is mentioned here. Lots of hands which were up. So Mataji, Prabhuji, Gaurchandra Prabhu and Mataji, Shama Mataji, you want to read or?
No, I have a question. Shall I park it or ask it?
Is it relevant to this verse?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So Prabhuji, as we say that we are Brahma Vaishnav Gauriya Sampradaya, so basically it is from the knowledge is coming from Brahmaji to Narad Muni and then to Vyasadeva and then to Sukadeva Goswami. But here when this is a very new thing to me that Narayan Rishi, they gave knowledge to Narada Muni. So, Prabhuji, like how to then understand it, that whether it is coming from Brahmaji or Narayan Rishi?
So do we have to actually receive the knowledge from only one personality, Mataji?
No.
Yeah, then the problem is solved. Narad Muni is like our traveling personality.
Hmm.
So he travels everywhere. Wherever there is nectar, he is going to be there.
Hmm.
So he found nectar in Narayan Rishi. So he is there to receive knowledge from them. He finds nectar from Brahmaji. He goes there. He goes to Vaikuntha to see Lord Vishnu to get nectar from him. And he goes to Lord Krishna in Goloka to get nectar from him. So he receives knowledge from everyone.
Hmm.
So here specifically this Srimad Bhagavatam related knowledge, it is mentioned that he has received from Naranarayan Rishi. Srimad Bhagavatam itself mentions that verse 12.4.41, you can have a look. You can see that Naranarayan Rishi has given this knowledge to Narad Muni, and Narad Muni has given it to Vyasadeva.
Yeah. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Prabhuji. Very nice.
Hare Krishna. Okay, let us move on. 1.2.5. Here, this is where Suta Goswami has started speaking after glorifying and offering obeisances. Now he has started speaking. And first thing that he does is now glorify the questions themselves. Munaya sadhu prushtoham bhavadbhirloka mangalam yatkruta Krishna samprashno yenatmasu prasidati. Yes, Raju Prabhu, please go ahead.
So, Prabhuji, I mean, I can read also. Let me read it. I had a question also.
Okay, let's read first and then we can
Sure.
look at the question.
Sure. O sages, I have justly questioned. Oh, I'm sorry. O sages, I have been justly questioned by you. Your questions are worthy because they relate to Lord Krishna and so are of relevance to the world's welfare. Only questions of this sort are capable of completely satisfying the self.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Let us go through this verse and then I'll take questions. So here, the questions are glorified by Suta Goswami, but he gives specific reason why he liked those questions. He says that only questions related to Krishna are capable of befitting all and completely satisfying the self. And Srila Prabhupada gives like a wonderful purport here. He says that whole world is asking questions. When the birds wake up, they are asking questions. Where is my food? Where is my food? And when evening, when the birds are coming back, again they are asking some questions. And human beings, unless they are asleep, they are still asking questions. So they will ask so many questions. And you see, if there are children, they will ask everything. Why? What? Why? Why? We are asking questions. Only when the child is asleep, the parents are relieved. Okay, the no more questions. So human beings are always asking questions unless they are asleep. Businessmen in the market, they are asking questions. What is the rate? Bhav kya hai? Bhav kya hai? What is the rate that they will still ask? Lawyers in the court are asking questions. The students are asking questions in the schools and colleges. Legislators are asking questions in the parliament. Politicians and press reporters are asking questions. So he said that all these people are asking questions. There are so many questions, but none of them satisfied by these questions. Very wonderfully, Srila Prabhupada mentioned in the first paragraph of this purport, all of these things, that so many people are asking questions, but none of these questions are satisfying to the self. So which questions satisfy the self? Related to Lord Shri Krishna. And why? Because Vedaischa Sarvair Ahameva Vedyo. In the Vedas, there are so much knowledge, different kinds of material as well as spiritual knowledge is given. But out of all the Vedas, Krishna says that I am to be known. In Bhagavad Gita 15.15, he has already said this. That out of all the Vedas, Vedic knowledge, I am to be known. So if the questions are related to Krishna, then the essence of the Vedas can be received. And the questions which are for the welfare of the world, like the sages were asking, what is the ultimate good for the people in general? So they were asking for the world's welfare. and they were asking specifically about Krishna. And that is why these questions are really, really wonderful. And that is what Suta Goswami is saying. He liked these questions because of these two reasons. Because they are about Krishna and they are for the welfare of the world. So, wonderful questions, and now he's going to give wonderful answers. Perfect questions, and he's going to give perfect answers starting from the next verse. But before we go there, we can actually learn many things about the mood of the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam from some of these verses that we have seen till now, and the purports of Srila Prabhupada from there. So the first one is, we should be grateful to receive the opportunity to glorify Krishna. When we are speaking about Srimad Bhagavatam, then this is an opportunity that we have, or Bhagavad Gita, this is the opportunity that we have received to talk about and glorify Lord Krishna's pastimes or his words. We should pray that Sukadeva Goswami and your Guru enters the heart to pacify and please the hearers. And when I'm saying pleasing the hearers, it doesn't mean that we should give the knowledge which they like. We should give the knowledge about Lord Shri Krishna, which is automatically pleasing to the heart. And they're automatically pacified in this material world, which is full of miseries. But the knowledge has to be given as it is. And that can happen if we pray to Sukadeva Goswami and our Guru Parampara. And through that, then they will speak from the heart. We have to be compassionate and well-wishers of others. Just like it was mentioned that how Sukadeva Goswami was samsarinam karunayah purana guhyam, karunayah. So compassion should be there, and well-wishing should be there of others. And swanubhavam, that we should share the knowledge as per our own realization. It is not that when we have to give a lecture, then we should just hear 2-3 other different lectures on the same topic and then just give the same, whatever the words that they have mentioned, whatever examples that they have given, you should just repeat it as a parrot. No, that is not how it should be done. They have their own realizations based on which they are speaking. It is good that you can actually listen from them, but when we are speaking, you should just speak based on our own realization. Whatever you have understood, whatever we think that it is my understanding of the things which are mentioned, that is what we should share. And the last point is, we should seek blessings from the parampara. Like how Suta Goswami is offering obeisances to so many personalities, Lord, the Supreme Lord, then Naranarayan Rishi, Goddess Saraswati, Vyasadev, Shukadev Goswami, all of them he is worshipping before he starts speaking. So that is how we should seek blessings from the parampara. The Mangalacharan that we do in the beginning, it is the same. We are offering obeisances to all these personalities which are in the parampara, in the Mangalacharan, and we are seeking their blessings. We are seeking that all auspicious should come during this discussion that we are going to do from now onwards. That is why we do this Mangala. Mangala means auspicious, Mangalacharana. So we are seeking their blessings. We are offering our obeisances and seeking that we get the mercy from them, so that whatever we speak, whatever we hear, that goes into our heart. So that is how anyone who's speaking about Srimad Bhagavatam should have the mood. Yeah, there are a few hands up, so we'll take those comments, questions, and then we will move on. Yes, Raju Prabhu.
Prabhuji, the question is on the previous text.
Yeah.
So offering obeisance, normally we any puja or anything that one starts, there is obeisance to Sri Ganesh, remove of obstacles. Why not Sri Ganesh in this text here also? And also I've noticed, any of the other programs that we're doing, we don't offer obeisance to Ganesha.
Yeah. So good question, Prabhuji. Lord Ganesha is the removal of obstacles, that is true. But he gets the potency of removing the obstacles from Lord Narasimhadev. In Brahma Samhita, it is clearly mentioned that it is the Lord Nrsimhadev who bestows that ability to Lord Ganesha. And because we are worshipping Lord Nrsimhadev in our programs, that is why we are thinking that, okay, we are going to the root and watering the root. So automatically Ganesha will also be pleased by offering that. So when the people who are doing pujas for their own personal agenda, that I have this desire that I get a promotion, or I get a good wife, or a good husband, or good children, or my children should progress, or I should get a lot of wealth. So when we have these desires for our own enjoyment, then we go through the process of karma kanda. And in the karma kanda process, we actually worship various devatas. And when we are worshipping devatas, then at that point in time, the Agra Puja is done of Lord Ganesha. But when we are not actually doing the process of bhakti, we go to the root, to the Supreme Lord. And even when the devotees have the desire that all the obstacles of my spiritual progress should be removed, instead of going to devatas, they go to the Supreme Lord, because all the potency is coming from him. So that is why we worship Lord Nrsimhadev, for removing the obstacles instead of Lord Ganesha. Is that okay?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Vidushi Mataji, Uma Mataji?
Just reading, Prabhuji, the next.
Okay, fine. I think Gaurchandra Prabhu has been raising his hand, or Mataji. They have been raising hand for reading, I believe, earlier. So I'll give you the opportunity next, and then you can do next. Okay. So now we are going to verse number 6. This is where the answering starts. This is one of the most important verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, where bhakti has been mentioned, and in this one verse, 2 questions are answered. This is called efficient answering. You ask me a question and I go on and on and on because I don't know much. So I actually give you a lot of confusing answers from here and there. But look at Suta Goswami. Suta Goswami, they asked 2 questions, he answered in 1 verse. We will see this amazing verse. Text number 6. Savay pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahaitukya apratihata yayatmasu prasidati. Let's recite the verse as well. Mataji and Prabhuji, one can recite the verse, and Prabhuji or one of you can just read the translation.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Savevam samparo dharmo yato bhaktiradhokshaje ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Translation.
The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So 1.2.6 and 7, they are glorifying the process of bhakti. And the first question, sorry, I'll put some of you on mute. Still, there is some noise coming. So please remain muted when you are not asking any question, so that we are not disturbed. So the first question which was asked, what is the absolute and ultimate good for people in general? And the answer is developing love of Godhead through process of bhakti. So developing love of Godhead through the process of bhakti is the absolute and ultimate good for people in general. And the second question which was asked, what is the essence of all the scriptures? And the answer is unmotivated and uninterrupted process of bhakti. Ahaituki, apratihata bhakti is the essence of all scriptures. And that will give the pleasure to the heart. It will satisfy the self. Now, if you go back to 1.1.9, the first chapter, 9th verse, where this question was asked, first question was asked. It was said, Pumsam, that for everyone. And then if you go to verse number 11, where the second question was asked, it was ended by Yenatma Suprasidati. And the same words, pumsam and yenatma suprasidati, little bit differently, yayatma suprasidati and savai pumsam, Suta Goswami has used, indicating that he is responding to those. What is good for all the people? Pumsam yato bhakti adokshaje. So developing love for Adokshaja, which is the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, another name of Lord Shri Krishna. And ahaitukya apratihata yayatma suprasidati. So the bhakti which is done in an unmotivated and uninterrupted way, that is going to satisfy the self. And that is the essence of all the scriptures. So material happiness. So Srila Prabhupada continues his quest of happiness session in this purport as well. So material happiness is temporary and illusory. Material happiness is temporary and illusory. It is full of miseries. And this is the line that I was actually saying. It is where Srila Prabhupada has said, temporary cessation of misery is falsely called happiness. So we are actually always experiencing misery, and temporarily those miseries stop. And we think that we are happy now. So it is not actually happiness. Just the dukkha has stopped a little bit and we think that now we are happy. So the temporary cessation of misery is falsely called as happiness in this material world. But devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not like that. The devotional service that we do for Krishna is Sat, Chit and Ananda. It is eternal, it is all cognizant, and it is blissful. But sometimes this devotional service, which is Sat, Chit, Ananda, we do that in a polluted way. We pollute bhakti with our material desires. So we do devotional service for some material gain or philosophical speculation or for puja, la, pratishtha. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, and this verse is saying, ahaituki means unmotivated. We have to remove all these other material desires and become unmotivated. That is why when Rupa Goswami, he did this definition of devotional service, he said, Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulena krishnanu shilanam bhakti ruchyate. So pure bhakti is defined like Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam. So all these material desires, including the jnana and karma, the desire for that and adi. So adi means everything else as well. All these other desires, we have to remove anavritam. Then we will be doing pure bhakti. That is one part. Unmotivated. So Raju Prabhu, you were asking about what motivation should we have. So it is mentioned that we have to actually do, if we want to do pure bhakti, we should not have any motivations, material motivations especially. We can have spiritual motivations that I want to serve the Supreme Lord. So that kind of motivation is not material. I want to know more about Krishna. That is also good. So these are spiritual motivations. But any material motivations which are coming from the material desires that I want this, I want that for my own enjoyment, those we should be free from. And then the second part which is mentioned here is apratihata. Apratihata means uninterrupted. So sometimes while doing devotional service, the challenges keep on coming in our life. But when the challenge comes, the first thing that we give up is the devotional service. And why that happens? Because that is at the bottommost priority in our life. So whatever is at the bottom, we remove it and say that, oh, I don't have now time because I'm challenged. I have this problem. I have that problem. I have to focus on it. So whatever was the lowest priority in our life, we remove it. And then we start focusing on that material problem. But here it is mentioned apratihata, uninterrupted. And uninterrupted means we have to do 24/7. But because that is not possible, at least we should do every day. Acharya has mentioned that apratihata doesn't mean that, okay, you can't do your other services that you are trying to do. You do it every day, that is apratihata. So everyday chanting, that means apratihata. That the service that you are trying to do is every day, that is uninterrupted. It should not be some days you are doing 2 rounds, some days you are doing 4 rounds, some days you are doing 0, sometimes you are doing 16, sometimes you are doing 64, but some days 0. No, that is not apratihata. Apratihata means minimum our chanting, whatever number of rounds that we are doing, every day we should do. And that is apratihata. Ahaituki means without material motivations. And that is how, if we do bhakti, that is the essence of all the scriptures, first of all. And that is, such kind of bhakti is going to be pleasing the self, satisfying the self. And such dharma is paro dharma. Savay pumsam paro dharmo. It is a supreme occupation. It is not ordinary occupation. It is a supreme occupation. Krishna is saying at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha. That give up all these other ways of religion and just surrender unto me. So that is the parodharmo, and that parodharmo is actually mentioned here. Is that savay pumsam parodharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje. So worshipping the Supreme Lord is the paradharma, is the supreme occupation. So that is 2 questions are answered in just 1 verse. What is the most essential from what is the essence of all scriptures? The second question, which is the unmotivated and uninterrupted process of bhakti, is the essence. That if essence means what is the most important knowledge? If everything else is removed, it doesn't matter. As long as the essence remains, that is perfect. So from the scriptures, from the Vedic scriptures, if everything else is removed, like karma kanda is removed, sakam karma is removed, karma yoga is removed, jnana yoga is removed, ashtanga yoga is removed, as long as pure bhakti, unmotivated and uninterrupted process of bhakti is remaining, that means we have everything from the scriptures. That is what is essence of bhakti. And the first question was, what is the absolute and ultimate good for people in general? That is, develop love for Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. That is the absolute and ultimate good for all of us. So this is what we can learn from this verse, that very important verse, one of the favorite verse of many devotees who talk about Srimad Bhagavatam. They will choose this verse and speak. And if you get a chance, you should try to hear from as many devotees as possible on this verse, because they are speaking from their own realization. And we will learn different things from different devotees when we are hearing about it. Okay. Okay. Rajiv Prabhu, you have some clarification required?
Just a question, Prabhuji. Normally, there is motivation required by default because, otherwise the chemical that's released is dopamine, right? To motivate any action. And because that chemical is released, we enjoy it. So the next time we want to do it even more. With chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, it says, endorphins are released, not specifically any chemical per se. So how can one do a particular action without any motivation per se?
Yeah, I'm not saying without any motivation. I said without any material motivation. We can have spiritual motivation.
But the body is still material, Prabhuji. So we have no choice, but those release of the chemicals will be there, right?
No, not like that. So this is what actually we are thinking, that these chemicals are making us happy. Chemicals are making us go and do something. If chemicals were everything, we have looked at it, that when the soul leaves the body, the chemicals are still there. But why the body is not happy? All these chemicals are getting released or something is happening because the spirit soul is there. You remember the example of the cage. We are still thinking about the cage. We are still not thinking about the parrot within that cage. The cage has some value because the parrot is there. So everything that is there, like anything that is happening in this body, because the spirit soul is there. And as long as the Supreme Spirit is pleased, which is the Supreme Lord, which is the Paramatma, which is in the heart as well, the soul is also pleased. And when the soul is pleased, the body will be releasing all the required chemicals that you want. So it is not that the chemicals are released, that is why we are feeling happy. We are feeling happy, that is why the chemicals are getting released. So as long as the soul is feeling bliss, all these chemical things will happen and we will feel the bliss. That is why in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita as well, we saw that it is susukham kartum avyayam. The devotional service is susukham. So if we keep doing it, we do some service to the Supreme Lord, the Lord within the heart will be pleased with you, pleased with us, and then he will give everything that we require. Okay, let's move on. If there are further questions, we'll take it at the end. Okay, on this topic. Fine. Moving to the next verse, again another wonderful verse. Verse number 7. वासुदेवे भगवती भक्ति योग प्रयोजितः जनयत्याशु वैराग्यम ज्ञानम च यद हेतुकम्. If someone can recite this verse as well. Pamendra Prabhuji, you want to recite?
I can try, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Oh, sorry, Uma Mataji and Vidushi Mataji wanted to do. They were in the queue. Sorry. Please go ahead.
वासुदेवे भगवती भक्ति योगे प्रयोजितः जनयाद्यासु वैराग्यं ज्ञानं च यदहेतुकम्. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So we have said that Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo. Paro Dharmo is the best of the occupation is Bhakti to Adhokshaje. But someone will say that what about knowledge and renunciation? Is that required before we actually begin the process of bhakti? Do we have to actually go through these purificatory processes which actually brings some knowledge and then we become a little bit renounced, detached, and only then we can go here? No. Suta Goswami says that if you do bhakti, jnana and vairagya will automatically come. It's a byproduct of bhakti. Let us read a purport, a part of the purport. It is in the first paragraph. In between, somewhere we are going to start. Some 3-4 lines we are going to read. It starts with the bhakti cult is the topmost. Pamendra Prabhu, if you have found that, you can read from there. The bhakti cult
Hare
is the
Krishna,
topmost.
Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. The bhakti cult is the topmost of all transcendental activities, and therefore it is simultaneously sublime and easy. This sublime for the pure devotee who are serious about getting in contact with the Supreme Lord, and it is easy for the devotee who are just on the threshold of the house of bhakti to
Thank you.
achieve the.
Yeah, that's enough.
Hare Krishna.
So it is mentioned here that bhakti process is both easy and sublime. Easy for neophytes, that new people can also start bhakti. Anyone can do. Even a child can do, an old person can do, um, a man can do, woman can do, rich can do, poor can do. Everyone, like no one is barred from doing bhakti. Whatever means that they have, they can actually use those means to serve the Supreme Lord. Krishna is not asking for $1 million. If you have $1 as a devotee, you can actually use that in Krishna's service. If you're poor, you can still do it. And if you do not even have $1, you can, Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam is also fine for him. You don't even require $1 for it. So that is how the bhakti is accessible to everyone. That is why it is very easy process. But almost always that we have seen that something that is easy doesn't give us the best result. But bhakti gives both. It is easy as well as it gives you the maximum, the topmost result. It is the best and the easiest. And knowledge, it is mentioned about Jnana and Vairagya both comes. So knowledge, we have already seen Vedasya Sarver Ahamai Vivedyo. If you know Krishna, then what is there else remaining in the Vedas to know? Because that was the essence of all the Vedas. So if you know Krishna, you know the essence of Veda. So in bhakti, you already have the most important knowledge. Also, Krishna says in again Bhagavad Gita 10.11, he says, Tesham eva anukampartham aham ajnanajam tama nashrayami atma bhavasto jnanadipena bhasvata. That he's sitting in our heart. And as mercy, special mercy on us, he, from within the heart, he gives the knowledge, the torchlight of knowledge he is giving from within. And Vairagya, how do we get Vairagya? Because in bhakti, we are trying to use everything in the service of the Supreme Lord, instead of using it in our own for our own enjoyment. So automatically we are renouncing the material desires because we are using it in Krishna's service. That is why it is called Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya is not that we are giving up the things. We are utilizing those things that we have in Krishna's service. So you are utilizing that. Utility is the principle, Srila Prabhupada said. And that is a renunciation because we have renounced the attachment that we had for enjoying that thing for our own self. And whenever you develop attraction for Krishna, we have got the higher taste, and automatically we lose interest in Maya and material things. That is how the Vairagya comes when we practice bhakti. So it is not that we have to get the knowledge first, get the renunciation first, and then we can practice bhakti. Bhakti can be practiced by anyone at any level, any stage, and all these other things will come and we will get them. Okay. Let us move on to the next verse, verse number 8. Dharma swanushthitah pumsam vishwaksena kathasu yaha nautpadayeda yadiratim shamaye vahi kevalam. Another wonderful verse, but I'm not actually going to actually recite all these verses which are coming. Many verses in second chapter are so beautiful, so wonderful. So we can just keep reciting them. So I'll just go to the translation. Where is next? So Bhagyashri Mataji, then Rajiv Prabhu, and then Adi Devi Mataji. You can do.
Translation. The occupational activities a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead.
So now talking about the Varnashram Dharma. Thank you, Mataji. But before we go to Varnashram Dharma, let us look at just a reminder. We have actually seen this before. These two questions which are answered in this one verse that we have already seen, 116. But we have already spoken about it. So let us move on to this section, verse number 8 to 11, where the Varnashram Dharma has been explained. So in this specific verse, it is mentioned that the Varnashram Dharma or our occupational duties, whatever work that we are doing for maintaining our body, that is a useless labor if it doesn't provoke attraction for Krishna Katha. Dharma swanushtitha pumsam vishwaksena kathasuya na utpadayeda yadi ratim shama eva hi kevalam. It is shama only if it doesn't create rati in Krishna Katha. So purpose of Varnashram Dharma is to actually develop love for Krishna gradually, slowly, by keep doing that duty, by and offering the results to the Lord, we actually develop some love for Krishna slowly. So if you are a Brahmana, you're a Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra, or you're in a Brahmachari ashram, or Grihastha ashram, or Vanaprastha ashram, or Sannyasa ashram, if by doing your prescribed duty, if you're not developing love of Godhead, then it is a useless labor. You are not achieving the purpose of Varnashram Dharma then. Why? Because by doing this and not developing Rati for Krishna, that means you're remaining on the material platform. And if as long as you remain on the material platform, you remain in the cycle of birth and death. And Srila Prabhupada gives two types of selfishness in the purport. He talks about concentrated selfishness, the first paragraph itself of the purport. He talks about concentrated selfishness and extended selfishness. He said that concentrated selfishness is about my body. My body is everything. And generally this is seen in animals or humans who are like animals. They only know about, they are so selfish They only know about themselves, nothing else. But most of the human beings, they have extended selfishness. What is that extended selfishness? That their self is extended further. Their selfishness has extended a little bit further. So instead of only focusing on their body, they think that, oh, my family, my family, my family, my society, or the community, my country, my world. Like their selfishness is extended a little bit more and more like that. But whether you are having the concentrated selfishness or extended selfishness, Srila Prabhupada compares that, again, that example of the bird and the cage. We are still focused on the cage. We are still talking about the body and things related to the body. We are still not talking about the bird within the cage, which is the supreme Lord, which is the soul, sorry, the supreme, sorry, super soul, and the soul which is there in the cage. In our heart, that soul is waiting for us, that we start feeding him. We are still only taking care of the body. So Varnashram Dharma is designed to take us to Sanatan Dharma. And what is the Sanatan Dharma? Sanatan Dharma is to serve the Supreme Lord. So Varnashram Dharma has been created so that slowly, gradually, we progress to our Sanatan Dharma, which is to serve the Supreme Lord and develop love for him. But till the time we are at the bodily platform, where we are still thinking about this selfishness of our own enjoyment, our own body and mind, we can actually still keep following the Varnashram Dharma properly so that we can get purified and come to this higher level of doing our dharma, which is Savaya Pumsam Paro Dharma Yato Bhakti Radokshaje. So Varnashram Dharma, the purpose is also again to develop bhakti for Krishna. And if that bhakti is not getting developed, then that Varnashram occupational duty is also useless labor. Okay. Raju Prabhu, if you have some question, we'll park some questions towards the end. But if you're just raising the hand, you can read the translation. Next one. Dharmasya ihapavargasya nartho arthayo kalpate narthasya dharma ekantasya kamo labhaya ismritaha.
Engagements are certainly meant for the ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, according to sages, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification.
Yeah. Let us go to the next verse as well, which is also in the connection. Kamasya nendriya pritir labho jiveta yavata jivasya tattva jigyasa nartho yascheh karma bhi. I think it was Adi Devi Mataji's turn, right?
Thank you, Prabhu. Life's desires should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation, since the human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of one's work.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so these two verses are explaining quite important principle. Generally, this everyone thinks that these four purusharthas which are given, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and they take it as a progressive stages. So people do dharma or the karma kanda activities they are doing so that they are expecting some artha, some prosperity. And once you get artha, that prosperity that we are looking for, mainly the idea is that when you get artha, you want kama, some sense gratification that you want to do. And over a period of time, when the karma is not satisfied or whatever, then you can turn towards moksha, towards the old age or whatever people say, that at that time we can look at it. So they think that we should do like this, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. But Srimad Bhagavatam is saying different. They are saying that dharma should never be used for artha, and even if you have artha, you should never use it for kama. And what should the dharma then should be used for? They say that dharma should only be used for moksha, should not be used for artha, and artha should not be used for kama. In just these two verses, this entire thing in people's mind, that dharma to artha, artha to kama, kama to moksha, is like shattered by Srimad Bhagavatam. That is why it is said in the second verse that kaitava dharma is removed. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. Why that is mentioned is all of these things which are mentioned in the scriptures itself, but they are given for this slow advancement. Srimad Bhagavatam just rejects those things. They said that I'm not going to give you anything at the lower level. I'm just going to give you at the highest level. Don't do dharma for artha and kama. Just do it for moksha and go beyond moksha as well. So that is what is mentioned here. And that's the 10th verse that we read. It also explains that how should the material gain should be utilized. That material gain, because it is not that when the dharma you do, you will not get the artha. You will automatically, even if you are focusing on moksha, automatically some prosperity is going to come. But that prosperity we should utilize for two things. One, for maintaining a healthy life. Basically, self-preservation. You should keep your body intact and very nice and healthy so that you can use it for inquiry about the absolute truth, which is the second part. So, healthy life and inquiry about the absolute truth. It should not be used for unlimited sense enjoyment, but healthy life means you can have regulated senses engaged in some sense enjoyment. But that is regulation, not unlimited. So healthy life and inquiry for the absolute truth is what we should use our material gain for. Let us go to 11th verse, which explains what is this absolute truth. Vadanti tattvavidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaneti shabdate. Vidhi Mataji.
Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth, all this non-dual substance, Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagwan. Hare Krishna.
So absolute truth is explained here. Absolute truth can be realized as Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagwan. And because it is absolute, the word itself, like absolute truth, right? There is no relativity. So Brahman is not lower than Paramatma. Paramatma is not lower than Bhagwan. There is no difference. So that is why it is said that the learned transcendentalist, they call this non-dual. There is no duality, that higher, lower, or anything there. Actually, it is referring to the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan, they are the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is just the realization that we get is higher or lower. If we know the Supreme Personality of Godhead only at the Brahman level, which is the effulgence coming out of the Supreme Lord, then it is not complete. Or we know Supreme Personality of Godhead just as Paramatma, which is in everyone's heart, it is a better realization, higher realization than realizing that he is the light or the effulgence. But the highest realization that we can get is of Bhagwan, knowing that the origin of everything, Brahmano hi pratishtaham, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is the source of everything. He is the one who is actually in everyone's heart as Paramatma. He is the one who's from his body, this Brahma Jyoti is coming. So he is the source of everything. When we get that realization, then we get everything. In here, Srila Prabhupada gives a very wonderful line. Yeah, so it is the first paragraph of this purport, the last line. He says, the one absolute truth are different perspective views seen from different angles of vision. So when we are just seeing Brahman as absolute truth, or Paramatma as absolute truth, or Bhagwan as absolute truth, we are just actually seeing the absolute truth from different angles of vision. So it is not a complete understanding if we do not understanding that absolute truth is Bhagavan, Paramatma, and Brahman, because it is absolute truth. So that is what is mentioned here. Okay, let's go to verse number 12. Tashaddadhana munayo nayana vairagya yuktaya pashantyatmani chatmanam bhaktya shuta gruhitaya. Yes, Swamendra Prabhu and then Vikas Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. The serious inquisitive student or a sage will, equipped with the knowledge and detachment, realize the absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
So how this absolute truth is realized? What is the process of realizing the absolute truth? What is the process given here for realizing the absolute truth? In this verse? Vikas Prabhu?
Sorry.
What?
Okay, Adi Devi Mataji.
Prabhupada, devotional service.
Yeah, but what specifically? In devotional service as well.
By the
Nine processes of bhakti.
is it the 9 processes of bhakti?
Okay, fine. Gaurchandra Prabhu or Mataji, Shama Mataji.
Prabhuji, is it by with serious inquisitiveness, performing devotional service with inquisitive?
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, that is right as well. I'm looking for another answer, which is in the verse translation itself. Kirtiyanta Prabhu. Next is Kirtiyanta Prabhu, and I know Vidushi Mataji, you are jumping up and down. Okay, you are next.
Hearing.
Knowledge and detachment.
Knowledge and detachment. Okay, Vidushi Mataji.
That's all we had, Prabhuji.
Knowledge and detachment. Okay, who is next? Aparna Mataji.
I'm also.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the translation says that as he has so absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti.
So what specific from there? I know if you read the entire translation there.
From the from the Bhagavatam, Prabhuji, pretty much.
Okay, Bharadarashi Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, it is hearing from the Vedanta, hearing,
Hearing
bhakti
is the
service
process
as
that I was
cultivated.
looking for. That's very good. Excellent. So hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is the process of perfection. Hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is the process of perfection, and that is what is mentioned in this now next few verses. So this absolute truth which is mentioned, that vadanti tat tattvajas tattvam yad jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwaniti shabdate. But this absolute truth which is Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan, how do we realize it? So this process is given of hearing. The devotional service needs to be done, but it starts with hearing process. And Srila Prabhupada again mentions that anyone who's sincere should hear this book Bhagavata from a person Bhagavata. Like we are doing now. We are actually hearing, even though I am speaking, I am not speaking. I am actually quoting Srila Prabhupada's purports. So we are hearing from Srila Prabhupada. I'm quoting some Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's Sarartha Darshini or Jiva Goswami, and I was mentioning that other these books as well that I'm referring to. So all of these realized souls, actually they are giving this knowledge, and we are speaking about that and hearing it. So we are hearing from these person Bhagavatas, especially Srila Prabhupada, because that is our main focus. 70-80% of this knowledge we are just talking from his purports only. So this book Bhagavata is to be understood from a person Bhagavata and not from the professional reciters. And Srila Prabhupada gives this example that even though Srimad Bhagavatam is like this nectar, which is like he compares that with milk, but just like a serpent, when this milk is touched by the serpent, then the milk becomes poisonous. So even though Srimad Bhagavatam is glorious, if you hear it from the professional reciters who are not coming in parampara, who are actually directly jumping to the 10th canto, or just not implementing the Srimad Bhagavatam knowledge in their life before they are explaining it, if we actually hear from them, we will not get the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. We may get digressed, we may get diverted. So process of realizing absolute truth is to hear from the right source, which is the person Bhagavata.
One question, if that's all right.
Small
one.
All the questions are important. I will just park them till the end, so that we will try to finish it on time, and anyone who wants to leave, they can leave, and then we can continue some question answers towards the end. Okay, I'll try to answer all questions. Okay, so let us go to the next verse. Verse number 13. अतः पुंभिर्द्विजश्रेष्ठा वर्णाश्रमविभागशः स्वनुत्तिष्ठस्य धर्मस्य संसिद्धिर्हरितोषणम्. Yes, Vikas Prabhu, please go.
Hare Krishna. O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation, according to caste divisions and order of life, is to please the personality of Godhead.
Thank you. So the purpose of Varnashram Dharma is mentioned here. Anyone who's thinking that purpose of Varnashram Dharma is to get artha and then kama and moksha, it is refuted here immediately. It is said that what is the purpose of what is purpose of doing Varnashram Dharma? It is samsiddhir haritoshanam, to please the Supreme Lord. And if the Lord is not getting pleased by your Varnashram Dharma, then it is Shrama Evahi Kevalam. So we have to do our duty as well, occupational duty as well, in a way that it will be pleasing to the Supreme Lord. And all of this is concluded in the 14th verse. Very amazing verse. Many of these verses should be memorized. Tasmadekena manasa bhagavan satvatam patim patihi shrotavya kirtitavyasya dheyah pujasya nityada. Who's next? Shivani Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Which verse you remember by after hearing this? There is a very famous verse. Yes, Adi Devi Mataji.
Vyavasatmika buddhi ekeha.
Yeah, Vyavasayatmika buddhi. Yes, of course, that is for ekagra. Tasmad ekena manasa. Gaurachandra Prabhu Shama Mataji.
Prabhuji, is it manmana?
Absolutely. Manmana bhavo mad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. Where Krishna is actually saying that how to do this devotional service. And same thing is explained here in this verse. Krishna is saying tasmad ekena manasa, which is that Vyavasayatmika buddhi, which is right. But what we should do? This ekena manasa bhagwan satvatam patihi. And we talked about satvatam pati last week. And 4 things which are mentioned. Shrotavya, we should hear about the Supreme Lord. Kirtitavya, we should glorify about him. Dheyaha, we should remember him. And puja, which is worshipping. So with one pointed attention, we should constantly say there are 2 things which are mentioned. One pointed attention and constantly. Apratihata is mentioned again. So one pointed attention, we should constantly hear, glorify, remember, worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is the conclusion which is mentioned. Srila Prabhupada mentions that in the newspaper, there is always some glorification of some insignificant people, and they suddenly become important because the newspaper is glorifying them. But this does not bring any good to anyone. It is a waste of time. But if we actually hear, glorify, remember, and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then it will satisfy the self. It is the essence of all scriptures. We will make progress. Okay, let us go to verse number 15. Yadanudihasina yukta karma granthi nibandanam chindanti kovidastasya kona kuryat katharatim. Sudanma Prabhuji.
Okay. With sword in hand, intelligent men cut through the binding knots of recreationary work, karma, by remembering the personality
Reactionary work.
Reactionary, sorry. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message?
Yeah. So it is mentioned that remembrance of the Lord cuts the knot of karma. Now, knot of karma is mentioned. So knotting means there is like some multiple things come together and then it forms a knot. So what has happened is this spirit soul has come into this contact with three modes and this body. And then a knot has been formed because of which the soul is not able to come out of the body. It is very difficult to untie this knot which has got formed. And this knot which is referred to here is the ahankar, the false ego that we have. Because of this false ego, we remain in this body, identify ourselves as body, and then continue like this. So unless and until we remove this ahankar or this false ego, we cannot go back to Godhead. We cannot develop love for Krishna. And how we can actually remove this knot? We have to take the sword in hand. And what sword is mentioned here? With sword in hand, intelligent men cut through the binding knot of reactionary karma by remembering the personality of Godhead. So remembrance of the Lord is the sword that is there, that is required to remove the ahankar that we have. We think that we are great. We have pride for everything. And last time we saw that our disqualification in Kali Yuga, so many disqualifications are there. Remembering the Lord, that Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and everything that we have is coming from Him, and we are His part and parcel, and we are servant of Him, that will remove this false ego that we have. And real ego will be established, that is my identity. Ego is identity. My real identity is that I am the servant of the Supreme Lord. So constant remembrance of the Lord will cut the knot of this ahankar, and then we can come out of it. And the real gain that we will get is the love of Godhead. So what is the purpose of our prescribed duty? It is mentioned in these verses till now that to develop attraction for Krishna Katha. So the purpose of the prescribed duty is to develop attraction for Krishna Katha, take us towards the Sanatan Dharma of serving the Supreme Lord. So Varnashram Dharma should take us to the Sanatan Dharma. Okay. Leading to moksha and not used for artha and kama. So this prescribed duty that we are doing should not be focused on getting artha and kama, but should be focused on moksha. And going beyond moksha, we should try to focus on pleasing the Supreme Lord. Because we saw samsiddhir haritoshanam. And if it is not samsiddhir haritoshanam, then we saw before it is shrama eva hi kevalam. It is waste of effort. Hence, with the one-pointed attention, we should constantly hear, glorify, remember, and worship the Supreme Lord while doing our prescribed duty. And that is how we will progress. Now the question is, we hear it so many times that we have to do this, we have to do that. But why do we not develop attraction for hearing and chanting about Krishna? What is the reason? Even when after we hear so many instructions, knowing that Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the greatest and the best in this day and age for achieving love of Godhead, even when we know that Hare Krishna Mahamantra while chanting, there are no rules and regulations involved. Still, we do not develop taste for it, even after chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra for many years that we do. Yes, Prabhuji, Gaurchandra Prabhu, Surananda Prabhu, and then Pamendra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, due to our anarthas, our offenses that we do commit towards the holy name and the Vaishnavas, then...
Okay, anarthas or offenses? Or both?
Both, I would say.
Okay. So you're saying anarthas and offenses. Good. Okay. Surananda Prabhu?
Around the same line, Prabhuji, anarthas are covered our heart. So until that get cleansed, we cannot realize.
So because we have anarthas, that is why we are not able to do that. Okay. Pamendra Prabhu?
Attachment to material.
Attachment. We have attachment. Attachment to what?
Material
yes.
things.
Attachment to material things, that is there. And because of this bhoga aishwarya prasaktanam taya apavruta chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhavana vidiyate. Because of that bhoga aishwarya that is there, our focus ekagra manasa वो नहीं होता है. Adidevi Mataji.
Because of sorry, and
I
because
was
of
sorry.
so because of that attachment, so only thing we are like focusing on satisfy this body and senses. So
Yeah. All right, bro. Let us move on. Yes, Adidevi Mataji.
Prabhuji, I was listening to a lecture the other day, and another thing that was pointed out in there was also among the anarthas, envy being the primemost, and that preventing us from sort of envy and ahantu.
Basically, envy you are saying, which is anartha. Yes.
Yeah.
Aparna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Obviously, whatever other devotees have mentioned stays, but from my perspective, Prabhuji, why we do not develop that kind of attraction towards Krishna Katha, practically because we are listening, but we are not deeply situated in its importance. So we are listening, or we have to be part of a thing. But if that realization comes, like you said, the realization is so important. So the moment we start realizing the importance and what impact it is causing in our life, it is changing, then automatically you start to get attracted to Krishna Katha. So the amount of realization and the amount of attention is lacking, Prabhuji, in my understanding. Hare Krishna.
So attention is lacking. Fine. Mukesh Prabhu.
Oh, Vaishnava Aparadh.
Vaishnava
White
Aparadh.
metal. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sudharma Mataji.
Probably, Prabhuji, most of what other devotees said, and also the past vasanas and desires which we carry, which are still there, which is not totally uprooted, and that is caused still having that.
So material desires.
Yes.
Sannivas Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Prabhuji, we are not giving enough important prioritizing that as a very important thing. So
Priorities are not given.
Yes.
Okay. Rajiv Prabhu.
Prabhuji, this was my question from 1.2.7. So if it gets answered now, it'll be great.
Okay, so the answer is coming from directly Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So instead of giving some answer of my own, Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually gives 4 reasons. 4 reasons he gives for this misfortune that we have for not developing the taste for hearing and chanting. And he has written that in his Bhajana Rahasya book. He's saying that the first reason is Tattva Brahma, philosophical misunderstanding. So first reason is Tattva Brahma. So we have this philosophical misunderstanding based on the illusion that we have about our own identity, that we think that we are this body. Illusion about the Supreme Lord. We think that, oh, Supreme Lord is just like a jiva like us. Sometimes we think that we can become the Supreme Lord after we become pure. Or we bring him down sometimes and says that, oh, he also takes the material form when he comes there. So this philosophical misunderstanding about our own self, and illusion that is there about the Supreme Lord, illusion about the sadhana as well, and prema bhakti as well, illusion about the subjects unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. So we do not understand what is favorable, what is unfavorable for us. And because of this philosophical misunderstanding about our own self, about the Lord, about the process, about the goal, and about what should be done and what should not be done. That is the first reason. That is not all the reasons. That is just the first reason. There are a lot of things which are covered there in the Tattva Brahma, which is philosophical misunderstanding. And we can come out of this philosophical misunderstanding by hearing from the proper source. And then all of this Tattva Brahma philosophical misunderstanding will be evaporated. The second reason why we do not develop the taste is about the aparadha, offenses that we do towards the Lord's name, holy name, the form, the devotees, and other living beings. So because we do these offenses, the mercy which is there is stopped. And that is why we, even if we had some taste in the beginning, that will just evaporate, that will go away. So aparadha, especially the Vaishnava aparadha, many of you already know. Vaishnava aparadha is the worst kind of aparadha that we can do. If we offend a Vaishnava, somehow or the other, and especially the Vaishnava from whom we are receiving this bhakti, that is the greatest of offense. If we do this kind of aparadh then our bhakti is going to shrink. This bhakti lata that is there is going to shrink. And if we see in ourselves that, oh, earlier I was very enthusiastic, earlier I was doing so much service, and now somehow the other taste for that service is going, I'm not able to focus on it or whatever, know for sure that you have committed some Vaishnava aparadh. And we can get rid of this aparadh by, of course, because we did not only talk about Vaishnava aparadh, but if for Vaishnava aparadh is the considered as Hati Mata aparadh, which is like the mad elephant aparadh, which just is left in the garden, it will just destroy the entire garden. What to speak about the Bhakti Lata, which is very tender, the creeper of Bhakti. So we can get rid of it by falling at the feet of the Vaishnava and asking for forgiveness and not committing that offense again. It is not that we ask for forgiveness and then keep repeating that. So we should not be doing that. And all the other aparadhs, like the aparadhs towards the deity worship, aparadhs towards the other holy name, like the other aparadhs for the holy name, all of that we can do. There are remedies for each one of them. Then the third one reason that Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives is asat trishna, thirst for the temporary, which we already discussed, that desires for material objects or even heavenly comforts, thinking that I want to go to the heavenly planet or I want mystic powers because then everyone will recognize that I'm such a great person, some siddhis will be there, or thinking that I want to get some liberation, I want to merge in impersonal Brahman. That is all temporary. All of these are asat trishna. The only trishna or lalsa that we should have is that I want to have love for Godhead. Otherwise, everything else is asat trishna. And the fourth one is the hridaya daurbalyam, weakness of heart, which is what many of you are referring to as anarthas. So we have this weakness of heart. We have this tendency to cheat, tendency to fault find. We have envy in our heart, desire for fame and attachment, which is there. Any objects which are unrelated to Krishna, all of those things is actually creating this weakness of heart. So unless and until we remove this Tattva Brahm, Aparad, Asat Trishna or Hriday Daurbalyam, we will not be able to develop the taste for hearing and chanting. Now we will think, oh Krishna, this is too much of an ask. Like you are asking that remove all the anartha, remove this Asat Trishna which is there, which has been there for millions of lifetimes in our heart. How do we remove all of that? And then of course offenses are there. We should definitely try to avoid those offenses. And philosophical misunderstandings, okay, and those are possibly easier to remove as well, that we can hear from proper source. But what to do? Like you're asking for so much for developing the taste, the attraction for Krishna Katha. So can we do something which can cure this situation that I am in and then develop the taste for chanting and hearing? And that answer is given in the next verse. But looking at the time, I think I will pause here. We'll keep the suspense, or you can read it yourself. What you can do this in our current situation for removing all of this slowly and still develop the taste for Krishna Katha. But that looks like we will have to wait till the next week, and we'll cover that from verse number 17 onwards in the next session. Okay, any questions or comments at this point, or any realizations, any summary points, any things that is struck to your heart and that you are taking away from this session today? Okay, many hands. We will take each one by one. Sudharma Mataji, Sudharma Prabhu.
Babaji, just a clarification. The last one you said, can you repeat what is that related to Hridaya Daurbalyam, weakness of heart? How it is
Weakness of
related
heart
to...
is anarthas, various different anarthas that we have. The anarthas like fault finding, envy, desire for fame, attachment to objects, or deceit, the cheating propensity, or all of these things which are they are basically anarthas.
Okay.
Anarthas in our heart. Okay. And that is actually creating the weakness in our heart. We are not able to remain fixed, steady on the path.
Thank you.
Bharadwaj Rishi Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have 3 questions.
Oh,
Uh,
let's take one. What is the most important question that
I've
you
been
will have?
holding because I didn't want to disturb your plan, Prabhuji.
It is
Prabhuji,
still disturbed, as you can see. That's okay. Let's take one
Prabhuji.
question, then we will go to others and then come back if you still have.
Okay, Prabhuji. So it's actually in 1.2.3, third verse, where it is actually mentioned that Sukadeva Goswami spoke from his personal assimilated by his experience. So was it actually referring to his ability to look at all the past incidents that happened, and he was personally experiencing the Bhagavata stories and then he was narrating, or is it actually talking about he experienced bhakti within himself and then he's talking from that point of view? Is it the stories or the essence of the is it the bhakti that he's
Yeah.
experienced?
Yeah, very good question, Prabhuji. So mainly what he's talking about is the knowledge which he is presenting. It is not that pastime. Of course, the pure devotees can also enter the pastime and experience those pastimes by entering there. So that is there. But mainly, yes, svanubhavam akhila shruti saram ekam, akhila shruti saram ekam. The all the shrutis, what is the sar, the essence, which is the bhakti. That bhakti, he has yes svanubhavam. He has already personally realized
Okay.
that bhakti is the essence of everything, and this is the highest. And that with Swanubhavam, he is presenting this knowledge. That it is not, he just heard somewhere and then he just repeating it.
Right.
No, he has realized it. That bhakti is the best, bhakti is the topmost, and that is what he's actually explaining to others.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, fine. Is that Gaurchandra Prabhu or Shama Mataji who has the question or comment or realization to share?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, it's a question. So, Prabhuji, at many places in the chapter 1, I have read that Brahman realization, Brahman realization. So, Prabhuji, sometimes I get confused between Brahman and Ishvara. What is the difference? Is it the same? Because when generally it should be Ishvara realization. So, why in many places?
Yeah, so Brahman realization, Mataji, is talking about specifically about the impersonal aspect of the Supreme Lord. Realizing the impersonal aspect of the Supreme Lord, especially all the impersonalists who are doing many of the Jnana yogis or Ashtanga yogis, who have the desire to merge into the Supreme. And when they say merge into the Supreme, that is called Brahman realization. They want actually, Brahman is impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord or the absolute truth, and they want to actually be part of it.
Yes,
And that is
Prabhuji.
what Brahman in realization.
So, Prabhuji, Sukadeva Goswami, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, before he was Brahmavadi, Brahmavadi, and then he heard that verse and then he became Bhakta.
Yeah. So again, that is part of the pastime, as I mentioned earlier. Sukadeva Goswami is part of Radha Krishna's Leela. He is Radharani's parrot himself. So it is not possible that he can be a Brahmavadi or Brahman or he's interested in impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord. But as a pastime, just to explain, even Atmaramas who are not interested in anything material, when they heard the Srimad Bhagavatam, they became interested in it. To glorify the knowledge of Krishna Katha or Srimad Bhagavatam, that is why this pastime was created, that Sukadeva Goswami was presented as the impersonalist before, and then when he heard uh, about these verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, like when we are saying that Vyasadeva was running behind Sukadeva Goswami and asking, oh son, but he is not listening, he's gone. So Vyasadeva decided, okay, I will teach, I will still attract him. And why he wanted to attract? Because he wanted to teach him Srimad Bhagavatam. So what he did, he sent his disciples to the forest and told them to do only one thing, recite verses from Srimad Bhagavatam in various different parts of the forest. And when Shukadeva Goswami heard about the Srimad Bhagavatam verses, he became very attracted. And he came back. Then he said that, oh, I want to actually go and learn this from my father. So he came back, and then Vyasadeva gave this knowledge to Shukadeva Goswami. So to explain the importance of Srimad Bhagavatam about Krishna Katha, this pastime was done that even the impersonalist, if they hear it attentively, they will get attracted to the Supreme Lord and they can go to the higher realization of the Bhagavan realization.
Or we can say, Prabhuji, that to tell us that how there is something above a moksha, which is Brahman realization, which is moksha. There is above that there is something. So Srila Sukadeva Goswami, he played an example here. He himself. Okay, right. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your answer. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Aparna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have got one comment and two questions, but I will keep the question to the one which is
One, please.
most important because of in the interest of time. So the comment is, Prabhuji, all these verses which you explained beautifully about bhakti and how we can attain the love for God is so amazing, is so mellowful, and it's just reinforcing what we have learned in Bhagavad Gita as you have taken the session. Thank you so much. Very nice and uplifting. My question, Prabhuji, was in the beginning, I think in verse number. Okay, I can't track the verse. So you have said that the speaker should speak. The speaker of the Srimad Bhagavatam should speak from his realization. So my question, Prabhuji, is so you are speaking Srimad Bhagavatam to us, obviously following the disciplic succession. So if we talk about a specific verse and its translation, do we understand by realization is the meaning which you take versus I take? Like, what is that realization actually referring to, Prabhuji, in terms of speaker speaking? Yeah.
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada actually defines what is realization in the 7th chapter. I don't recall the exact words though. 7th chapter. Okay, anyway, when we go there, I think it was 1:7:11. Because I wanted to quote the exact lines from Srila Prabhupada, but if I don't find, then I'll just mention what my understanding of that is. Realization. Anyway, instead of spending time searching for it, I will post the paragraph afterwards into the chat into our WhatsApp group. But basically, Srila Prabhupada defines realization very interestingly. It is not that realization is something very mystical when we actually read Srimad Bhagavatam and then we actually feel some pastimes within the heart or whatever, and then that is realization. Srila Prabhupada explains realization as when we actually hear or study Srimad Bhagavatam, whatever we understand, and if we are able to explain that to others in a way that they can understand, that is realization. So if you have understood Srimad Bhagavatam, of course, internalize that as well, and you're able to explain that in a way that others can understand, then that is realized knowledge. So very simple definition Srila Prabhupada has given.
Okay, Prabhuji. That
So
means
when I'm actually trying to explain Srimad Bhagavatam to all of you, that I read what Srila Prabhupada has given, what other acharyas have given, and I try to explain in a way that what I feel that the audience can understand. And if I'm successful in that way, then that is a realized knowledge.
Indeed you are. Indeed you are. Thank you so much. Hare
Correct.
Krishna.
Okay. Who's next? Parmendra Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, really amazing lecture again. Thank you so much for that. One question I have is why Bhagavatam has been referred as Vedanta Sutri and why it's called Vedanta Sutri?
Vedanta Sutras, okay. Vedanta Sutra is actually another scripture which Vyasadeva has written, and this is the commentary on the Vedanta Sutras, which is again the original author himself has written. The author who has written Vedanta Sutra, which is Vyasadeva, he himself has written this commentary on Vedanta Sutras. So that is the relationship that is mentioned there. Okay, Hare Krishna. Surananda Prabhuji?
So, sorry, Prabhuji, cut you. So, do you mean like essence of that Vedanta Sutra?
No, not essence. Vedanta Sutra is the essence, and that is explained in a commentary. So, because as I mentioned, that the Vedanta Sutras are very brief. Like one sutra, like I explained that Vedanta Sutra is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. It just says Athato Brahma Jigyasa, and that is it. And those who are very intelligent, they can understand what is the meaning of Athato Brahma Jigyasa or Janmadhyasya Yataha. Janmadhyasya Yataha, this verse, like this few words, 2 words, explains the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, who understands Janmadhyasya Yataha means Supreme Personality of Godhead, absolute truth. So that is why Vyasadeva wrote the commentary of Srimad Bhagavatam, where he explains Janmadhyasya Yatonvayaditratha Chartheshu Abhidnya Swarat, all of these other characteristics of Absolute Truth, by which we understand that it is referring to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and how it is referring to. And of course, more about that Supreme Personality of Godhead is mentioned.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. So it is, it is his purport. It is Vyasadeva's purport of the Vedanta Sutra is Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Surananda Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji, my takeaway today is we should hear Srimad Bhagavatam from the person Bhagavata, not from the professional Bhagavatam readers.
Reciters, yes. Very good. Vidhi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. You mentioned Adokshaja is one of the meaning of the Lord. So I wanted to know the meaning of the name Adokshaja.
Adhokshaje, it is Srila Prabhupada has actually given in the word-to-word translation.
It says transcendent.
Unto the transcendence. Rajiv Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I don't have a question. I just wanted to thank you for your patience in answering all the questions and taking us through this. I really appreciate it because there's obviously lots of questions coming up during the session. So thank you so much. And also, if there could be, I don't know, maybe we have to do it ourselves. Revision in between the week, Sunday to Sunday, while it still feels short, and we come to it, there's a lot of volume and so to digest this just within 2 hours is too difficult. So somehow if we can break this down and absorb it all throughout the week, would be a good way. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here of what we can do. It's more on us than you, by the way. So
yeah, actually it is called Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. We have to do it every day. Nityam means it is not once a week. It has to be done Nityam. So I would also ask everyone to read Srimad Bhagavatam every day, and that way you can absorb it more. So if you usually just leave it to once a week, then like our absorption may not be that much. So I am expecting that all of you and including myself, we should still read the scriptures every day or hear about it every day. For example, now today, if we have covered these, I don't know, 16 verses. So you can hear some of the lectures on some of these important verses in the coming week, and that way your absorption will increase. And there are many wonderful speakers, much better than me, who you can hear as well. And that way also you can actually get more understanding of these verses. So that you should do. So read Srila Prabhupada's purport first, that is the foremost. And if you still have some more time to absorb, then you can hear some other lectures as well of in that parampara, Srila Prabhupada's parampara. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Bharadwaji Prabhu, you are back with the second question. Go ahead.
Prabhuji, in the Ahaituki Apratihata. Yeah, so Ahaituki, unmotivated. So I'm just trying to compare what exactly is unmotivation, Prabhuji. So see, there are 2 ways, right? One, if we are actually doing devotional service, expecting that, okay, so we get the blessing, so we get, liberated from this material world, and then, we get purified and all that. And the another one is like the, irrespective of our situation, we're just doing it for the satisfaction of the Lord. So that is like the highest. So in here, what exactly is ahaituki? Unmotivated means like not even have it even like, see, I want to get liberated is still I centric, not Krishna centric yet. So is that still good? Is that still considered a spiritual motivation, or it should be purely that Krishna's satisfaction is the ultimate aim?
Yeah, good question, Prabhuji. So actually, getting liberated for what purpose?
So
If
Krishna.
we want to get liberated because we are suffering here, we are in misery, we are troubled, and we want to actually remove our suffering, then that is self-centric. That is not a good desire. But if we have a desire that I want to get liberated because I want to go and serve Krishna, I am in this material world and I am restricted because being in the material world, you have to take care of the body, you have to work for 8 hours and whatever, whatnot. And then your service to the Lord is, because of that, is interrupted. Then you are thinking that, oh, my desire is I want to get liberated, I want to go to spiritual world so that I can, apratihata, I can serve the Supreme Lord. So that is also you're desiring for liberation coming out of this material world. But your purpose is different. Your intention is different. So depending on what your intention is, it can be a spiritual desire or it can be a material desire. So here, ahaituki means you should not have any material desires which are centric, self-centric. It should have spiritual desire. It should be for developing love for Krishna. It should be for going and serving him somehow or the other. That way, it is fine.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. I have one more question, Prabhuji. Shall I hold
Yeah,
on?
no one else is there. So, and those who want to go early, please feel free to drop out. I know I just continue like this, and I can continue for another 2 hours as well like this. So please feel free to drop out after the session is over. If you want to remain for question and answers, feel free as well. Yes, bro.
Prabhuji, in verse 11, it was mentioned that, learned transcendentalists, like say that.
Yeah.
So some similar references were also in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna also mentioned that, the learned sages say this, the learned people say this. Why is this, like, what are they actually, who are they referring to, Prabhuji? Like, learned, who are these learned people?
They are referring to you, Prabhuji, Bharadwaj Rishi.
I can laugh it about it later, Prabhuji, but who are these learned people, Prabhuji?
Yeah, those who understand the principle that who are you or who am I, who's Lord, and what is our relationship and how to go there. So those who understand the Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana properly, those are the people who are the learned sages. And different people actually may refer to this who has learned whatever or not, depending on what their viewpoint is. But here, if you actually look at it from the bhakti perspective, because that is the highest, as we have just learned. So actually, we have already learned today. So we are all learned sages. We already know what is our sambandha, what is our abhideya, what is our prayojana. Because we are already aware, we can continue on that path, and sooner or later, we will also become sages. So basically, those transcendentalists, learned transcendentalists, which it refers to, they know the sambandha, abhideya, prayojana, and also one of the main difference between probably myself and them is they are called sages because they have also implemented all of that into their life, and they have progressed further onto their spiritual path. And because they are at such advanced level, they are not senior devotees, they are advanced devotees. So we become senior by remaining in Krishna consciousness, but they become advanced by following the teachings which are given. So they became learned sages or the learned transcendentalists.
Okay, thank you, bro.
Okay, fine. There are a few more hands. I can continue for like last 2 points. We will take and then we'll stop today. Okay, fine. Sudharma Prabhu or Sudharma Mataji?
Thank you, Prabhuji, for allowing us to clarify. Prabhuji, I have a basic question. Like the sages who are sitting here to hear from Suta Goswami, they are all already realized souls. right? But this, or whatever Suta Goswami is repeating from what he has heard, they would have already known this fact, like who is the Supreme Lord. They would have already known these things, right? His Leela avatars and Guna, those things. So they are just asking for sake of us. Is that our understanding, Prabhuji? That is my first question. I have one more question after you. Okay.
Okay. Not necessarily is the answer, because they are actually, all of these sages who are sitting there, they are not ordinary sages. We have already seen that they are devotees. They are doing this yajna for 1,000 years at their personal inconvenience for pleasing the Supreme Lord and his devotees. And they are doing it for the welfare of everyone. So from that, we can see that they are focusing on the Supreme Lord. So they are devotees. But not all of the sages which are there are at the same level. Some of those sages may be interested in some karma kanda activities. Some of the sages may be interested in just this jnana yoga or ashtanga yoga or some other process, karma yoga process, sakam karma process. Not everyone is at that same level. So Shaunaka is their leader. He is the most advanced, as well as he is also the elder amongst them. So elder can be as per their age, but elder can also be as per their experience in Krishna consciousness. So that is why he has been chosen as their leader to ask those questions, so that they are asking the right questions which will be useful for everyone. So those who are already advanced in the audience, for them it is Machita Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam that is happening. But those who are not as advanced at that as those, for them it is enlightenment. They are getting some knowledge, which is the essence of everything. Because the sages can also get confused because they read so many scriptures. This book they have read, that book they have read, that book they have read. And you can see that many of the so-called spiritual people they are not able to answer basic questions. Like Srila Prabhupada asked some people who were visiting him, he said, "Who is God?" And they said, "Oh, Swamiji, you have asked this very difficult question, and this scriptures like says this, that scripture says this, that scripture." Like they were confused. They are not able to give answer. But then he asked Saraswati, the small girl there, and he said, showing gulab jamun, "Saraswati, who's God?" She looked at the gulab jamun and said, "Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead." And Srila Prabhupada said that, see, even the small child knows who is God and you don't know. So even though sometimes those who are interested in knowledge, they may actually read so many books and get confused as part of it because of that. So that is why we should just focus on Srila Prabhupada books in the beginning. If you have, once you have actually read all the Srila Prabhupada books, you have understood it, or you want to actually specifically research something for a particular thing and then present something, at that time you can just refer here and there some commentaries. But otherwise, Srila Prabhupada has included the essence of other Acharya's commentaries as well in his purports. So just by reading Srila Prabhupada's purport, that is enough for us. And then we can progress just from his books.
My next question will be based on what Bharadwaji Prabhu asked for the Haituki, the explanation you gave. But so that's unmotivated. But when we listen to many of the acharyas and other lectures also, they say even for us, like as devotees, we should not even ask for like love for God, or as well should not be our motivation. So is that right understanding, Prabhuji? Or as Prabhuji said, it should be like even the spiritual, though it is spiritual, even that should not be, asked for?
As far as my understanding goes, Mataji, based on what I have heard from Srila Prabhupada and others as well, we can have the desire, lalasa. Lalasa is one of the most important motivation that is required for us to progress on the spiritual path. And this lalasa, we in our prayer as well, we do lalsamai prayer. And that is considered highest sort of prayer. So thinking that we shouldn't be having any spiritual desires as well is going into that Shunyavadi stage. Shunyavadi stage is the Buddhist philosophy. where we are wanting to be from material desires as well as spiritual desires, and we have to be desireless. No, we don't want to become desireless. We want to remove the material desires, and we want to develop the spiritual desires. So I do not know if in what context some devotees would have said like this, that we should not even desire for having love of Godhead. But we should definitely have this desire that I want to develop love for Krishna. I want to serve Krishna. Because without having this positive desire, how can we get rid of the negative desires that we have developed for many millions of lifetimes?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank
Okay.
you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Last point from Aparna Mataji, and then we are moving on to the next session next week.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. This is my second question, and thank you so
Oh, I
much.
thought you were going to give some realization, some comment. Okay, you have to
Please go
give
on, Prabhuji.
one realization or one comment, and then you can ask a question.
Sure, Prabhuji. Oh, realizations are so many. Like I said the first time, Prabhuji, the way you beautifully explained through these verses about how simple. Oh, there were two words, easy and sublime. So that is really amazing to understand, Prabhuji, that anyone can start their journey. It's really amazing realization, and I
I did
really
not say,
want
Srila
to.
Prabhupada said.
Yeah, of course. But you're just speaking on his
Yeah,
behalf.
I'm
So
the tree.
I
I'm
want
just
to.
echoing. I'm the tree who is echoing his words.
Yes, Prabhuji. But for us, we are listening of you. So obviously, so I really want to stay in that sort of state of mind. So thank you so much for that,
Okay,
Prabhuji.
go
And I
ahead with your
can't
question,
emphasize
Mataji.
enough. My question is, Prabhuji, if we refer to the verse number 9, which actually draws that all occupational engagement should be certainly meant for ultimate liberation. But as we know that women are considered for various reasons that okay, so I won't go into that later. So my question is, does it apply to women as well? Because the Varnasrama dharma is mainly for the Purushas, for the men who are the breadwinner of the family. How does it boils down to the women if she, like a woman wants to progress in that sort of realm of liberation, or not liberation, but getting close to Krishna or something like that? So
Are you a spirit
how
soul,
does this
Mataji?
Varnasrama dharma pertains to that person?
Yeah, are you a spirit soul?
Sorry, Prabhuji?
Are you a spirit soul?
Yes.
You are, right?
Yes,
And
Prabhuji.
and
Yeah.
Sanatan Dharma is for spirit soul or for men or women?
It's for spirit soul,
For a
100%.
spirit soul, right? So Sanatan Dharma is for the spirit soul, and we are all
Yeah.
spirit souls. And we all agree that we are all contaminated at this point in time. That is why we are here in this material world. And
Yes.
there has to be some purificatory process required to go from where we are to that Sanatan Dharma stage, where we want to realize properly that we are the spirit soul, and then act based on that understanding that I am the spirit soul. If that is the
Sure.
case, a purificatory process is required for everyone. And doing your prescribed duty is called the Varnashram Dharma, based on your guna and karma. So depending on your guna and karma, whatever is the prescribed duty that you are doing, for example, in the Vedic times, the women were not working. The men we used to work, and the women were actually looking after the home, their family, and the children mainly. All of that they were looking after. And that was their duty. That was their prescribed duty. So doing that prescribed duty properly, they were progressing towards the Sanatan Dharma. And in this Kali Yuga, where men and women are both working, at that time, whatever prescribed duty that they are doing as per their guna and karma, they can utilize that for purifying themselves and go to Sanatan Dharma. Okay. So whether it doesn't matter whether you are a man or a woman, purification is required for everyone. And finally, the Sanatan Dharma is also same for everyone, which is to serve the Supreme Lord. We are contaminated at this stage. The goal is to actually go to that purified stage. So some process is required in between, and that process is the cleansing process, anartha nivritti process, which is what we have to actually do.
Thank you so much. That makes sense,
Fine.
Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Bharataji Prabhu, you can just give me a call afterwards.
Anuttara's question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay, because she is asking the first one, I'll give her.
Yeah.
I can't see her though. I can see you and Krishna, who is lifting Govardhan.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Danvat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Dandavat.
Like,
The question that I want to ask, like what Sudharma Mataji asked and Bharatwaj Prabhu asked, and you gave that is Sunyavadi, that we should not have any desires. But in
No, I
Mukunda,
did not say that we should not have any desire. I
no,
said
no,
that
no,
we shouldn't be in that
no,
situation.
without any desires means it is Sunyavadi, you said, no problem.
Correct, yes.
Yeah. In that, like in Mukunda Mala Sotram also, the Kulashekar Alvar says that he won't desire anything, like if Lord sends to hell or heaven or anywhere, but he asks only for his service.
Devotee service.
No, his service and the devotee service, that's it.
Correct.
And even the devotees is not expecting, but he's not expecting to go to any Goloka or anywhere, but he's expecting the service. How can
So
we
is that a desire?
understand that, Prabhuji? That is not his desire. Like he don't want to go to Goloka or anywhere. He is ready to go to anywhere where the Lord has to send.
Yeah, I understood, Mataji. But is that a desire to serve the devotees of the Supreme Lord? Is that a desire?
It's a desire, but like that like who haituki that means like even in our nectar of devotion, or like in that also we studied that we should not see what you explained, Prabhuji, what I understand, that see the desire is we have to go suffering from this material world, like because all these are interrupting, but the pure devotees are saying that if they are interrupting also it's okay, but I have to serve.
No, actually, I think there is a confusion, Mataji. I did not say that we should have the desire for liberation for serving the Supreme Lord. The question was asked by Bharatwaj Rishi Prabhu, if we have a desire for liberation, is that a material desire or spiritual desire? My point is that we should not have any material desires. We should have spiritual desires. That is what is mentioned. Like when it is said ahaituki, unmotivated, that means not having any material motivation. As long as there is no material motivation, you have some spiritual motivation, that is fine. And in specific case of liberation, I gave these two examples, that if you are wanting liberation, if that is your desire, if you are wanting liberation, it can be for two purposes or many purposes, but at a high level, that one is having a material desire, that I am suffering here, self-centered, and I want to get free from these miseries. So that is self-centered. But whereas if you want to get liberated for serving the Supreme Lord or his devotees, whatever, then that is still a spiritual desire. That is not a self-centered desire. So in that particular desire, I'm saying that depending on the intention, it can be spiritual or material desire. I am not saying that everyone should have a desire to go back to Godhead. Just like that example that you gave, there as well, there is a spiritual desire. He's saying that I don't care whether I go to hell or hellish or some other planet. As long as I can actually serve the Supreme Lord and his devotees, I'll be satisfied. So again, there is a spiritual desire involved. And all devotees, pure devotees, also will have spiritual desires. And we saw like the first session from Gauranga Darshan Prabhu as well.
Yes.
He said that the best desire and repeatedly that is seen in Srimad Bhagavatam from the pure devotees is to hear Krishna Katha. So that is a spiritual desire. So everyone, we can see that all the devotees, even pure devotees, have spiritual desires. And we, at our point, our level, may not directly have some spiritual desires at this point. We are hearing those from the pure devotees and learning how I can manage my desires. I am seeing that, oh, my heart has so many material desires, but the scriptures are telling me that the pure devotees have the spiritual desires. How I associate with them and transfer their desires into me and remove these material desires from me is the process of purification. And that is what actually our next verse is also going to say, how we can develop those. Anyway, that is for next week. We will stop here at this point. Otherwise, we will keep going. It will become apratihata. Thank you very much, everyone, for asking wonderful questions and giving more time for speaking about Srimad Bhagavatam, and also clarifying some of the shortcomings that while I was speaking, I may have explained it in a way that it was not easily understood. So these questions are clarifications which you are asking. So that is very good. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Prabhupada ki Jai.